Welcome to this year's Surfboard sponsor presentations. So the goal is for, this is, like I said a moment ago, the first step in the committee feedback portion of the grant round. So our goals for today are for both committees to leave with a solid understanding of what the projects are and what they'd like to see at site tours in May to understand the projects better. Our sponsors will leave knowing which questions they have to answer, which things to clarify, generally, which issues to follow up on and incorporate into their site tours. To achieve this, our sponsors will give clear, concise project presentations, identifying why their project is important, what their objectives are, what their methods are, and our committees will ask clarifying questions and provide feedback. That's all of you. Do identify any specific issues, uncertainties, and opportunities for the project sponsors, as well as briefly highlighting what you like about the project right now. Some reminders as committee members: do be fair and impartial, provide feedback that is clear and constructive. Do speak up when you are asking your questions to make sure the owl picks you up for the benefit of everyone joining us remotely and for the recordings on YouTube. Do share the mic. We have a tight schedule today, so if you can be concise, that will help to make sure everyone has a chance to ask all their questions. And avoid interrupting during the presentations if you can. Save those, jot down your thoughts, and then raise your hand during the Q&A, and I will make sure that you have a chance to speak. As we're going through today, do consider your committee's scoring matrix. If it sounds like a sponsor isn't adequately addressing a criteria, that means that they're going to get a lower score than they might otherwise, or their project could be better. Do speak up, let them know. I have provided some of those matrices with big text around the table, so do grab a copy if you would like. And just generally, our success today depends on your participation. So do speak up, do bring your questions and ideas, and do what you can to draw each other out. Do either put your phones on vibrate or airplane mode as we get started today, so we have minimum distractions. And while folks are quieting their phones, a quick note about conflicts of interest. As we start each presentation, I'll just quickly note if give an opportunity for anyone if they have a direct conflict of interest to disclose that. But today we don't mostly need to worry about it. Just be thinking about whether you have any secondary conflicts of interest for when we have our evaluation meetings in July. And the policy on our conflicts of interest is in the committee folder. Some reminders as sponsors. I already talked about speaking aloud, describing each visual adequately for someone seeing the project for the first time, and then keeping your presentation to time. As your facilitator, I will note all of us here as staff are meant to facilitate the process, not to be the ones reviewing the projects. So as your facilitator, I will introduce each presenter, moderate the ensuing discussion to make sure all voices are heard, keep us on time and focused with each presentation, having a 15 to 20 minute presentation and then a 5 to 10 minute Q&A period. And you will see me holding up these time cards as our presenters approach the end of their time. So that's what we're doing, but which projects are we going to be talking about today? We have 3 grant programs this year. The regular Surfboard grant program had 7 applications, which with a combined total of just under $2 million in requests. Now, notably, we do not know yet exactly how much money we have available for this grant pot. Thank you. You see down there, it says between $500,000 and $2 million. And that is because the federal component of our funding package has not yet been finalized and delivered. And so we expect at least about $500,000, potentially as much as $2 million. If we get status quo funding from the feds, then we would be looking at something like $1 to $1.5 million. But suffice to say, that sounds like a competitive grant round. And notably in the far right column, it says other funding at the top. And you'll see some of the projects have very little or no dollars in that column. Surfboard no longer requires match for most projects, just requests that sponsors report other funding with the current phase that they are leveraging.
And just one note on the federal funding. It's been approved by Congress. We were waiting much longer than normal for NOAA Fisheries to put out the requested proposals that then the state of Washington and the states and tribes put in. That just came out. The state needs still to submit its application, and then we'll see how DC splits the money up among the different states and tribes. So that's what the uncertainty is. The good news is that it did get passed in the budget.
Moving on to riparian, this year we have a small grant round of just under $200,000. And that's because all we have is the rollover from last year, not a full grant pot being provided. And this year, unfortunately, we didn't get any new applications for that money, but we did receive or will be a cost increase from a riparian project from last year. Some of you will recognize the Lower Kittitas Floodplain Restoration Early Action Project with Kat, who was here a moment ago. And we don't know exactly how much that request will be quite yet, but I've spoken with Kat and we do know that it's going to come in under that $195,000 number. So staff will be exploring ways to use the remainder for this grant round, but not much for this grant program this year. Notably, this cost increase will not be presented on today, but we will hear about it at site tours.
And just to give a sense of what our hope is, we will likely, if we don't between us and Flick to have riparian projects that can use it, we will talk to our peers around the state about who's got more riparian projects and can we trade this money against the less narrowly limited surfboard money. So one way or another, we hope to be able to use that money. It just may be a shell game to.
Yeah. And our third and final grant program is targeted investments. This is the grant program for large projects this year between $1 to $7 million. And we do not have an allocation for this grant program per se, but rather we run a local evaluation process and then submit our top few projects to a statewide competition. This year, we're allowed to submit up to 2 projects plus any resubmitted projects from previous years of targeted investments. And this year, the way it worked out, we only got 1 application plus 1 resubmission, that being of the Atanum Village Restoration Project on Atanum Creek from 2024. So today, if our local evaluation process, whatever ranks number 1, will get a slight bump over number 2 in the statewide competition. But generally, we're just trying to help both of these projects to be the best they can be to compete at that state level and get funding for the basin, as opposed to potentially, making a decision about whether they rank above a funding line.
Just next steps here, the reason there's no allocation is our other grant programs, we're allocating money that's already in hand. The successful projects become a list that the state then takes to the legislature next fall. And that works into the biennial budget process that they'll start. The legislature will consider in the spring of 2027 for monies that wouldn't be available till July 2027. So that's why it's really different. So it's great to get things on here. It has fairly narrow requirements, which is why we only have 1 application that met all the requirements. It wasn't for lack of interest. It was just, and it will be dependent on whatever happens at the state legislative level in a year.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. So that's what we're doing today, what we're going to be talking about. Here you can see where we are in the grant round process. Ran through that at a quick clip. Any questions? Jump in if you got some, but hearing none, I will move us on to calling our quick attention to the new glossary. This is an introductory glossary meant to help get anyone who's new to the fish world up to speed. You can see the table of contents up on the right there. It's designed to have everything that you need to answer questions as you review projects. And Alex and I have been working on this and really hope that it is a resource to everyone throughout your time serving on our committees. It doesn't just explain with minimum jargon, in layman's terms, but also we tried to explain why you would care, not just the definition, but why it matters. If you do notice anything is missing from this list, just the other week, I noticed, oh my gosh, I forgot roughness. I should have put roughness in there. Shoot me a quick email. This is a living document, and I really want it to be the most helpful it can be. And again, this is provided in the committee folder on Box.
And we also have an even larger glossary that we've included all of this into on the website called Yakipedia, which literally is the Wikipedia server copy for local info. And so, and that one especially is super alive. In fact, if you want to help edit the glossary because you just want to geek out, let me know.
Yeah. Those maps actually are up on Yakipedia, and the glossary has a link to them. A quick reminder to our citizen committee, we offer reimbursements for mileage and other expenses associated with your service. If you are interested in taking advantage of that, please do let me know. We will need to keep track of expenses in advance. And I will really go quickly because we have 4 minutes left in this introduction period. Some news on previously funded surfboard projects to get us excited as we move into today. First one is a 2022 project, Yakima River, River Mile 89.5 near Toppenish. This is a side channel and floodplain reconnection project, 10 miles of side channel, 950 acres of floodplain. It was recently completed in the fall. You can see here in green, the newly excavated portions, in blue, the relic channel, inlet and outlet along the main stem Yakima River. We visited this right after it was finished, got some great photos. Here is the outlet channel, a large wood structure that's there to stabilize it so that it doesn't, fall away. The banks were revegetated. Higher up, this was a relic channel we were told was dry at this time of year normally, but here it's not just wet, it's flowing. And this is the inlet right at the Yakima River. So this project, finally, 3 years later, implemented, went through the surfboard process, received all of your feedback, benefited from it, and we will see how it does going forward. We had that atmospheric river in 2025 in December, immediate stress test for this project. And you can see the difference in the flows, but it's a good thing that we had it constructed. It had an opportunity to spread those floodwaters out onto the floodplain and recharge the aquifer, slow the waters a little bit. And we'll hear from the project lead about how the project is doing, if there's any adaptive management that needs to take place. The other big news is the Bateman Island Causeway removal. This is a multi-decade effort that finally was completed just a couple months ago. And it addresses this issue in the maps here, the Yakima River Delta in Richland. This is Bateman Island here and the Columbia River. And there's this huge mass of warm water, which is made worse or was made worse by this causeway that people could walk across. And this was identified, before 2010. The causeway was constructed in 1940. But the first steps of this project, getting an assessment done to understand the issue, getting the conceptual designs completed, those took place over 10 years ago, 2010, 2013. And now we're finally going to see the benefits to all anadromous fish. This is one of those, helping with a temperature bottleneck, too hot for the fish to move up or down at certain times of year. So a really a limiting factor in the basin. And I'm gonna take us to that's not correct. Are you
The
kidding
neat
me?
thing to highlight for our purposes is just the way that those assessment
Hold on.
and planning grants
You're
laid the
kidding me.
groundwork for what became a huge project that others within the Yakima Nation, WPFW, others really, the Columbia Fisheries really took the lead on. And that's a neat thing to me about the surfboard process is when we can invest in that early, here's a possibility, and watch that ball get going and run and roll. So, yeah, think about that, because sometimes we look at those assessments and designs and say, oh, do something on the ground. But sometimes they're the first step in these 10-year big projects.
Just gonna add to, there's a celebration on Friday, April 24th at Columbia Park, West Richland, Washington. If you guys have a Facebook account, go on to the Acclimation Fisheries Facebook account and that information's on there. So if you guys like to attend.
And that's wide open to the public,
Yeah.
right, in terms of us putting it on Facebook and other things.
Yeah, that's what Shannon was talking about, 10 to 2 at the Columbia Park West, which is where the causeway used to be on Friday, April 24th. A quick thank you to everybody here. We could not run this very special, unique, community-led grant round without you. For all of our new committee members, we have hats. From all of us here at the Recovery Board and on behalf of the fish, thank you. And in particular, thank you to our longest serving committee members. We don't take it for granted that we've been able to have your participation, you on the committees for this many years. We really do, whether this program thrives or not depends on having you. So thank you for your time, for your hard work, and want to give a special shout out to, well, actually, Alex, any thoughts on that? Maybe can you keep it to 30, 60 seconds?
No, one of the neat things, there's only a few of us that have been here. Actually, Tom, you may be the only one left who's been involved one way or another since '99, the very first year that was the identity process. I came on in '06 and there's a handful of us that have been here that length. What's so cool is seeing so many new faces and seeing the way that the process has evolved. I think it's gotten a bit better each year, and people have joined the committee, worked, left their mark, both in the project selection and in how we do things. And new people have brought new things in. So it's really neat to see something that's bigger than any one set of individuals that's lasted 20 years now go on. So all you old people that helped carry it, thank you. And all the new folks that are making it what it will be into the future, thank you even more.
Your hair's gotten gray too.
I just saw a bunch of family and everyone's like, God, you're going white quickly all of a sudden.
Well, thank you, Alex. And do want to celebrate a couple of committee members that are celebrating their 5th year on the tag. I heard people estimating. Does anyone know if it's them? The 2 members we want to shout out this year, Shannon Adams and Katie Fanstein, 5th year on the tag. Thank you both so very much. We have some mugs for you. We'll get to you at some point.
Let me duck first.
We'll get those to you shortly.
Thank you.
But yeah, really appreciate y'all and really everybody who is here today. So yeah, I hope everybody feels energized. Moving into our first presenter. Thank you for your patience there.